Hi, and welcome to the new member orientation for Strategic Edge Gun Range. My name is Tony Schenkel. I'll be your instructor today. Before we get started though, as a side note, I know that you've been through a lot of forms and a lot of documents to get to this point, and you waited a long time to get to this point. But I want to point out that this information is important. It's not only important to us, but it's important to you, and it's really important to the safety of our range and to the other members. We want to encourage you not to just read that information, but to also learn it, because when you actually do visit the range, you're going to be expected to practice that information. At Strategic Edge, we take our safety very, very seriously, and we put it foremost in everything we do. And as a member, we'll expect you to do the same thing. So I'd like to encourage you to pay particularly close attention to the following information in this video. Your next slide shows your new member orientation, range, safety, and facility rules outline. If you'll look that over, you'll see the topics that we're going to cover today. General information for new members. Requirements to become a member. You, of course, have added yourself to the wait list on our website under the membership tab, and by now you've received an invitation from the range that you're in line for membership. Next, you read and understood, completed, and submitted the online application for membership. You paid your application fee and your annual dues online. Now you're going to watch and understand this entire video, the new member orientation video. After this, you'll complete and sign the new member orientation quiz. Upon completion of all those steps, we will mail to you a member ID badge. You'll also get an individual 6-digit gate code to allow access to the range. In addition to that, you'll also receive a 4-digit code to allow access to the clubhouse and classroom. Safety officer for the range. You are a safety officer for the range, which you agreed to in your membership application. You have a responsibility to the range and your fellow shooters to follow these rules and remind others of the rules when you see a violation. Violations endangering the safety of others should be reported to the range management along with the violator's name and/or member's ID number. Be polite. If you remind someone of a rule, be courteous and respectful in the process. If someone reminds you of a rule, you should take the opportunity to both listen and to learn. Your responsibilities. Use common sense at all times. Member ID badges are required to be prominently displayed at all times when you're on premises. Do not share your gate codes with anyone. Do not write them on the outside of your ID badge. If you lose your ID badge or gate codes, submit a replacement request to info@strategicedge.us. The cost is $10 for a replacement ID badge. Members are responsible for the action of their guest, spouse, and children at all times. Guest, spouse, and children may not be left unattended at any time. Any family member under the age of 21 years must be accompanied by an adult member of the range at all times. Anyone caught intentionally violating the range rules will forfeit their membership or face a suspension of their membership at the sole discretion of range management. Violations from a lack of knowing or remembering the rules will require that you reattend the safety training. Safety requirements. Use common sense at all times. Proper eye and ear protection are required at all times when you are at or near a firing line. The range recommends that you double plug, which is foam ear protection, under your muffs in all areas. First aid kits and fire extinguishers are located in the clubhouse and at each outdoor building. If there is any kind of medical emergency, call 911 and send someone to open the gate. No loaded firearms are permitted anywhere on the range premise except for at the firing line, and only then when the range is in hot condition. There are residences, buildings, offices, and other facilities located on the range property. Be aware that people are driving, living, and working on the site beyond your visual range and within the range of your weapons. Please do not fire your weapons around, beside, or beyond the earth berms at any time. Only firearms in good working condition are allowed on the firing line. Guests. All guests must complete and sign the digital waiver available on the tablet in the clubhouse every time they visit the range. Any non-member on site must complete this waiver upon arrival. A guest is not permitted on the range premises other than the clubhouse prior to signing the waiver. Members bringing guests must complete and sign the member portion of that waiver. The guest fee is $15 per person. This applies to anyone that will be shooting. Non-shooters do not have to pay a fee, but they do have to complete and sign the waiver. All guests must wear a prominently displayed guest ID badge while on site. A member must be 21 years of age to bring a guest. Guests must be 21 years of age or older unless they're with a legal guardian or a parent that is a member. Members are responsible for all acts and conduct of their guest. Members are responsible for collecting and turning in the guest IDs. No guest may be on premise without their sponsoring member. They cannot arrive before the member or be present after the member leaves. No guest may be anywhere on the premises at any time unless attended by their sponsored member. No guest may shoot at the long-range building or be on gun at that location for any reason. Guests are limited to shooting only at 500 yards or less. Members are limited to 2 guests per visit. A non-family member guest may only visit the range 2 times per year. When a guest is on gun, the member has to be off gun and behind the guest acting as a safety officer. When the member goes on gun, the guest cannot be touching a firearm in any manner and should not be at the firing line. Do not share your codes with your guest. Hours of operation. Always check the website calendar before going to the range so you know of any temporary closures or restrictions of range use. Shooting is permissible from full sunrise until full sunset. On Sunday morning, shooting should not start until 7:30 a.m. as a courtesy to our neighbors. In Pistol Bays 1 and 2, you can shoot until 8:30 p.m. Free training for members. You must complete this Level 1 safety orientation to be a member. There is never a cost for this class, and everyone is encouraged to go back through this training if you cannot remember all the rules and procedures. You must complete the Level 2 Long Range Qualifier in order to shoot beyond 500 yards. This class is free, and you may take the training as many times as needed for you to understand the rules and procedures. When you complete that Long Range Qualifier training, we will mail you a red LR sticker to go on your membership badge, which will signify to others that you have completed the proper training and you can shoot at the long range facility. You must complete the Level 3 50 BMG Overbore Magnum class in order to shoot any cartridge larger than a .338 Lapua Magnum. All members are encouraged to attend this free class. In order to shoot the 50 BMG, you must display a special ID tag that confirms that you have completed that training. Only members may take the free training classes. You'll be provided a link for these classes upon email request to info@strategicedge.us. Anyone, member or non-member, may take the paid training classes. These classes are listed under the Training tab on our website, and the schedules are shown on our website calendar. Advanced sign-up is required. Email info@strategicedge.us to sign up. Basic gun safety rules. Never point your muzzle at anyone, including yourself. Treat all guns as if they're loaded. Keep the gun pointed in the safest possible direction. Up is preferred on the range. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Know your target, its surroundings, and beyond. Know how to properly operate your firearm. And in an emergency, the ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire command should be used. Common sense issues. Use common sense at all times. Picking up your brass is required, including .22 long rifle brass. Smokers must put cigarette butts in the butt buckets. Please be courteous to your fellow members while smoking. Do not leave cleaning patches or trash on the ground. Remove your paper targets and deposit all trash in trash cans provided at each range. Anyone under the influence of alcohol, legal and/or illegal mind-altering drugs is not permitted to use the range or to be on the property. Anyone observed in that condition should be reported immediately to management and/or law enforcement authorities. Members must obey all local, county, state, and federal laws while on the range premises. Let's take a tour of the range. On this slide, you'll see a nice overhead view of our range that identifies different shooting distances. There's also a great video where a drone flies through our range and shows you the entire facility located on our website. Entering the pistol bays. Parking is allowed in the front bays behind the firing line. Parking for the rear bays is on the access road only. If someone is using a pistol bay, be polite and allow them time to finish. Holstered pistols must stay holstered until you're on a firing line. Pistols in a bag or in your hand must be cylinder out or slide locked open with no magazine. Carbines, rifles, and shotguns can be cased at the pistol range, but they must be unloaded, chamber flagged, and pointed up until you get to the firing line of your bay. Shooting at steel targets. There is a risk of splatter or bounce back when shooting steel at any distance, and it can cause serious injury. When you choose to shoot steel, you are accepting and assuming those risks entirely on your own. The minimum distance you can shoot pistol steel with a pistol is 10 yards. The pistol steel can only be engaged by a pistol and pistol caliber carbine shooting a common defensive handgun cartridge under 1,300 feet per second. Absolutely no rifle rounds or rounds over 1,300 feet per second can be shot on the pistol steel. Bounce back can be fatal. If a magnet will stick to your bullet, it cannot be shot on steel. Pistol bay safety procedures. Verbal commands are required on the pistol ranges. Those commands are: range is hot, I need to clear the range, and the range is clear. No one can have a loaded firearm behind the firing line at the pistol bays. Only static steel and paper targets are allowed in the front bays. All reactive steel must be in the rear bays. No steel is allowed in Bay 8. When using Bay 8, both signs must be rotated to indicate that the bay is in use. The 180 rule should be adhered to in all bays. Bay 8 can only be used as a 360 bay when there is only one shooter in the bay and one of our strategic edge instructors is present. In general, do not move the steel targets without special permission. Do not move the safe tables. Do not drag the shooting benches or the barricade walls or the step-down barricades. Take down your paper targets and dispose of them properly. Pick up your brass and either take it home or place it in a brass bucket. The archery range. Crossbows are allowed. Broadheads are not allowed. Moving the targets is not allowed without special permission. We also have a second archery range in the woods beside the clubhouse that's a 3D archery range. And in addition to that, there's also a knife and hatchet throwing target. The rifle ranges. Our short range goes out to 500 yards, our long range goes to 1,250 yards, and our rimfire range goes to 300 yards. The rifle ranges. We're going to cover the automated range condition alert system, the function and the guidelines for its use, some additional safety measures, and the targets at the rifle range. But please note that this class does not qualify you to shoot at the long range facility, which goes from 600 to 1,250 yards. You must complete additional training to receive that authorization. Note, this training does not qualify you to shoot at the 50 BMG, overbore, and magnums. You must complete additional training to receive that authorization. In this slide, you'll see 4 pictures of the components that make up our Automated Range Condition Alert System, or the ARAS. This applies to the rimfire range, the short and long rifle ranges, and the shotgun trap range. In this slide, you'll see a picture of the ARAS control panel. Notice the green and yellow and red buttons, and down below on the panel, a set of keys. One of these panels is located in both the short-range rifle and the long-range rifle buildings. When the key is in the on position, the range can be made hot by pressing the green button. When the range goes cold, the key can be turned off and removed. On the same key ring, there's a key for the golf cart, ensuring the range cannot go hot until both carts have returned. You cannot walk past 100 yards. If you want to go downrange past 100 yards, you have to take a golf cart. After returning the cart, it is your responsibility to ensure no one is in front of the firing line before making the range hot again. In this slide, you'll see a picture of the ARAS warning lights. There are multiple warning lights throughout the rifle range. If you see it lit green, it means the range is hot. When the range is hot, no one can be beyond the firing line and firearms can be loaded and fired. Yellow, the range is still hot for 5 minutes. Prepare to unload your firearm, open the chamber and install a chamber flag. In red condition, stop shooting. The range is cold. All firearms must be unloaded, chamber open, and chamber flag installed. Firearms must be on the bench or in the gun rack or left in your vehicle. Move away from the shooting benches. Do not handle anything on the bench or do not be at your bench. You cannot bring your firearm from your vehicle or take it to your vehicle while the range is cold. This is a picture of the ARAS time clock. There is a time clock located in both the short rifle range and the long rifle range buildings. When the range is hot and the warning lights are green, this is a countdown clock that shows how much time is left before the range will automatically go to yellow condition. The clocks run in 30-minute cycles. At the 5-minute mark, a buzzer will sound indicating caution, and the range will soon go cold and the warning lights will become yellow. At the 0 mark on the clock, another buzzer will sound indicating the range is now cold and the warning lights will turn to red. Stop shooting. Ensure your firearm is unloaded, open, and chamber flag. Move away from the bench and do not handle anything at the bench or be at your bench. The ARAS instructions, just in case you need a little reminder, these instructions are posted in each rifle range. Note, if the automated range condition alert system fails or ceases to operate normally, members should immediately call the office to report and alert everyone in both buildings to the condition. Members may only continue to fire weapons after every participating member has been informed of the situation and safety rules have been established and agreed upon by all shooters. Additional safety measures. Case rifles are banned on the rifle range. When the rifle comes out of your vehicle, it must be uncased so that everyone can see the direction the muzzle is pointed, which is up, and if a chamber flag is inserted. All rifles brought to the firing line shall either be on a bench pointed down range or in the gun rack next to your bench pointed straight up. Do not place rifles on the tables behind the shooting benches. Bullets must be checked with a magnet prior to shooting steel at any distance. You are responsible for any and for all damage that you cause. Targets. The 100-yard steel targets are for rough sight-in. Do not use them as your only target. Do not shoot at the bolts on the steel targets. Only range steel and paper targets are allowed. Do not bring your own steel or any target other than paper. All targets must be situated no more than 5 feet in front of the base of the berm. Do not fire at a target that does not meet this condition. All rounds fired must be directed to go into the earth berms. Do not fire into the ground below the target or above or beside the earth berms. Crossfire is not allowed. Shooters must be in line with their targets. Do not shoot at the long distance targets from the short range benches or short range targets from the long range benches. Only the 200 and 300 yard berms located in the center of the range are shared between buildings, and there's no steel at those two locations to reduce the chance of a ricochet. No stick-on targets are allowed. You can staple them to the backing, but do not peel and stick them onto the backing. Remove your paper targets and dispose of them properly. Never shoot at wildlife or domesticated animals on the range property. Do not shoot a centerfire rifle, pistol, or muzzle loader at the rimfire targets and berms. The shotgun range. Shotgun wobble trap range. The trap range goes hot and cold with the rifle range. Shotguns must be in the rack when the range is cold. Shotguns must be chamber flagged when the range is cold. Only approach the trap house from the left side. You will need to provide your own clay targets. Please turn off the trap machine after use. Do not adjust the machine without special permission. Shotguns may be patterned only in pistol bay 1 and only on paper attached to the 4 foot by 4 foot target stand. Only lead shot size number 6 or smaller may be used on the trap range and the pistol range steel targets. Non-hardened slugs and buckshot are allowed on the rifle range on the 100-yard paper or steel plate. Clubhouse and classroom. As a member, you will have access to this facility through your 4-digit code. This is where you would register and pay for any guest. There is a black box on the wall near the door where you should pay for your purchases. We call that the honor system. Snacks, coffee, and water are available on the honor system. A variety of targets are available. Prices are marked on a representative target on the wall. Again, please follow the honor system. Chamber flags are available for purchase. First aid kit, including a defibrillator, is also located in the clubhouse along with some fire extinguishers. Various equipment for members to borrow, including sandbags, rests, chronographs, spotting scopes, and shot timers, can also be found in the clubhouse. White paint for painting the steel targets is available in the clubhouse at no additional cost to our members. There's also a restroom facility in the clubhouse. Reloading room. For your convenience, there's a reloading room located behind the rimfire range. The room is heated and cooled, so do not leave the door open. There is a reloading press, an RCBS Chargemaster, and an amp annealing machine provided. You will need to bring your own dies and other equipment needed to reload. To use the amp annealer, read the instructions. You will need a pilot and a shell holder for your cartridge. This room is not for your storage, so please do not leave any items behind. In conclusion, this completes the video portion of your training. Your next step is to complete and sign the new member orientation quiz. If for some reason you do not use the range for some time, the link to this video will stay active and you can watch the video again before you visit. As a side note, I want to appeal to everyone to take these rules seriously. Not only do you need to read them, you need to learn them, and you need to be able to exercise them when you get on site. I know you've gone through a waiting period, you've gone through a lot of documents, you're going through this video, and that's not always the easiest thing to do to get into a gun range, but we pride ourselves at Strategic Edge on our safety and our safety record and the safety of our members. And as much as we'd like to see you be a member, we'd rather you not be a member if you're not going to follow those procedures and keep yourself and others safe. So please consider when you come to the range as a new member to go slow and to ask questions of other members. Our members are very, very friendly. They're overly excited about helping new members and seeing them enjoy the shooting sports. You can ask them any question and they will be happy to help you. Also, if you'll go slow and watch what the other members are doing, you'll probably figure out a rule that you may have let slip or not gotten used to yet. Things like if you're carrying a gun to your car when the range is cold and no one else is doing it, then you know that you're violating a rule. So just take it easy in your first visit. We look forward to seeing you on the range.